great investments and be the Oracle of Omaha because he does not get inside information, which he does. And that's how these people act. They act on inside information. You don't get it. I don't get it, but he gets it. And I was in that business for 28 years. I've been in the business of money and finance for 50 years practically. And the only way you can come up with those kind of results is being astronomically lucky or on the inside. And he ain't lucky, he's on the inside. Topic of thrift savings, withdrawal from accounts in particular, or security of them. Let's see here. Talks about if you separate before, and he's got the wrong age here. This is Churi. It's not 55, it's 59 and a half. You get penalized if you, whatever portion of the money you take out of a retirement plan, it's a 10% penalty. And then, of course, you pay your taxes, which you'd have to pay anyway. And well, if I were you, I'd have to know more about your situation in order to answer this. So, Deb, send me another email and be more explicit, and I'll answer you. And the last one I've got here, Brian. I wish you told. Oh, I already did that. Okay, Melody, it's all yours.
What? What?
You just don't lose your speech now.
What?
I got a sore throat today.
You do?
Yeah, I have also found your keys to your house.
To my office. You kind of touched on this. I see the stock market is up around 470 points on news of a U.S. Treasury plan to buy up $1 trillion worth of toxic assets. All this money creation can only result in massive inflation for the future. With people in debt and broke, can the cost of goods and services still rise? If so, can you explain how this works?
Just the way you said it works. There's no change there. I mean, these people don't care about inflation. They're caring about, at least for the time being, saving their system. And it's not going to work. I mean, you're not creating anything. You have to create employment. You have to allow people to create savings. You have to allow the manufacture of goods to be sold, both to Americans and others. We can't do those things. They've ripped the whole spinal column out of the whole country. I mean, we're consuming 14% of what we produce. I mean, the rest of it comes from the rest of the world. And everybody has come and ruined our markets for us. People who are making, $32 an hour no longer make that. They make 12 or 13 or 15 if they're lucky. I talk to people every day who have been laid off from their jobs, and most of them have been 20, 25 or more years, with the same employer. They just dump them. Major problem.
What's the difference? Please ask what the difference is between a toxic asset and a liability. Is it something like negative growth? And I know this
well,
is what
it's the same thing.
Yeah.
A toxic asset is a liability. A liability, and the reason it's toxic is that there's no market for it, and that's what Gitler is going to do. He's going to spend $1 trillion buying worthless assets from banks and brokerage firms and insurance companies, and you get to pay for it. Now, they're going to auction these things off, but all the insiders know what the middle point is that they want to pay and how much the public's going to get screwed. They've already figured all that out. So, if paper is auctioned for 60 cents on the dollar and it's worth 20, then the people who buy it have to wait a long time to get their money back. It's a group of people who coordinate with one another. I call them elitists, illuminists, in order to save the system. This is what's going on. And, $1 trillion is not going to do it. A minimum of $5 trillion will do it. And when they see that this plan is not going to be successful, when these people should be allowed to write off their assets or go bankrupt, until that happens, nothing's going to happen. I mean, it's just not going to create anything.
And his second comment is, what's the IQ threshold for buying a toxic asset? Single digits?
Yeah, probably. And, they knew what they were doing. It was all done deliberately. I mean, they needed something. They weren't ready for a depression yet. They obviously are now. But in 2001, 2002, they lowered interest rates, increased the money supply, and generally degenerated the system. And, they're rigging everything. All of the financial companies, you know what they did? They went and demanded that the people who were borrowing stock in order to short a stock to return the borrowed stock. Now, this is really illegal to make that kind of a demand. And what is all that about? When you short a stock, betting it's going to go down, you have to borrow it. And somebody lends it to you and they charge you a fee for that. But what J.P. Morgan Chase, Goldman Sachs, Wells Fargo, Citigroup, they were all doing that. They started about maybe 4 or 5 days ago. And when I saw that in my last issue, I told the subscribers to cover their shorts on those issues. And some of them made outrageous amounts of money. But I had to put the short cover in, because if I didn't, and that's what they're doing, these stocks are going to go higher. And then, of course, I didn't have any idea that the market was going to play up to about 7,800 and was going to be up $500 on the day for no apparent reason other than the adoption of a plan that was used 6 months ago that didn't work. I mean, it shows you how phony baloney this whole thing is. And but that's why the financial stocks have moved up. I'm looking at right now. In fact, I just put a short on Raymond James. It's up 260 today. Goldman's up 1435. It's crazy. They're all in financial trouble.
With the dollar falling, will countries like China be buying assets in the U.S. like real estate and cars and other items?
I don't see why they would. The whole world is pulling its spending horns in, if you may. Everybody's experiencing the same thing. I wrote a piece on the weekend for the Wednesday issue and made the comparisons. It's not only manufacturing production, but new orders are dreadful. And we're talking, about Germany and Switzerland, U.S., China, South Korea. South Korea was down like 73%. And so the whole world is headed towards trouble.
Hey, you folks for going through these questions awfully quick. You better be sending me some. I just saw on Fox News that the current administration is creating a task force to study retirement securities. Do you think they will seize accounts?
Well, that has been in existence that I know of for the last few months. And I don't know what they're going to do, and nobody else does. My feeling is this. If such a bill came out of committee and went to the floor, into the hopper, as it's called, I would immediately tell all of my subscribers to close out all their retirement plans and take the cash. You pay the taxes, and if there's penalties, you pay them, because you may never see the money again. Now, we don't know whether it would pass.